Hello and welcome to Beach View, our podcast about different things and/or stuff.
Hello, today we're getting back to our anime, Death Note.
Yes. From one piece of high school media in 2006 to another. Well, we're at the point where it was airing in 2007 and no longer about a high schooler. He's in college now.
Right.
And also the English version, which is the one we're watching, came out like a year afterwards, so technically incorrect, but, you know.
Close enough. It's in the same range, yeah.
Yeah, high school in 2006.
Yeah, there you go. To college in circa around 2008, so
Yeah.
there you go. So, we watched episodes 11 through 16 this time, because we've already covered the past episodes.
Yes.
So we jumped right into episode 11, and I was actually surprised how much I remembered, like, once I got back into it, because I was a little nervous that I was going to be like, wait, it's been a little while since I watched the other episodes, but it triggered my memories, like, whenever I started watching episode 11.
Yeah. So, I've already stated that I don't like the show from this point onward in the previous one we did.
Yeah.
So, I want to hear your thoughts, like, just general at the top about these episodes.
I actually didn't mind it. Like, I thought, it had, like, some twists that I didn't see coming, so I felt like that was, it kind of, I guess, kept my attention, because it seemed like every episode there was some, like, element that would change. I mean, I would say they're not my favorite episodes in this bunch, but it definitely, moved the plot along with some twist in it. So, I mean, I didn't think that they were terrible, kept my interest. So I think it was okay.
All right. You want to go ahead and get in the plot synopses?
Sure.
Okay. What happens in these episodes, surprisingly?
Yes. A lot happens, yeah. So, and I know you're always our good plot synopser.
Good is not the term I would use.
Better than me, at least.
Yeah, so let's episode 11. A sleazy TV station airs a message from Kira after being threatened to do such. L decides he has to stop the broadcast, but the investigation team is unable to reach anybody by phone. This leads one of them to drive to the station on their own, and they attempt to enter the station but die by heart attack along with two police officers who show up. Light's dad sees this happening. He's still in the hospital from the events of last time, and he decides to spring into action, so he gets a bus and crashes into the station, thus obscuring his face. He then obtains the tapes from the station, and L arranges for the police to escort him out so he can, isn't in danger. The message that Kira sent out on tapes was, it was a call for the police to cooperate, and if they don't, like, L will be killed, like, essentially asking for L to be killed. And it's then revealed towards the end of the episode that Light's not actually the person who sent this message, that there's actually a second person with the Death Note, and that this person has the Shinigami eyes. L has also realized this, and the second person is Misa Amane. So that's our new character, main character-ish, introduced in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, episode 12. L decides to officially invite Light to the investigation team, and he gives Light a test. So, he's decided that there's a second Kira, and he wants to have Light watch the tapes without telling him that to see if he's Kira, because if he is, that will give him information, because he obviously knows it's a second Kira, and if he's not, it'll help confirm his theory, because, fresh eyes will confirm that there's a second Kira. Light passes this test, and then the team decides they're going to send out a message pretending to be Kira in order to bait the second Kira. This works, and the second Kira sends a message back wanting to meet, and also accidentally reveals information about the Death Note and Shinigami. Light doesn't like this, and he's now, doesn't like the second Kira, Then we have a scene where we learn how Misa got her death note, and a Shinigami named Jealous, spelled Gelus, not like the word jealous, fell in love with her, and he watched her on the day she was supposed to die, and he intervened to kill her would-be murderer, which causes him to die in the process, because Shinigami aren't supposed to interfere to extend human life, only to take human life. And then Rim, the Shinigami that's following her, like Ryuka's following Light, decides to give Misa the death note. Alright, 13. Light and one of the team member heads out to one of the locations the second Kira mentioned. The second Kira sends like this notebook of like different dates. Obviously a coded message to try to get to the first Kira. And, Light decides to go out under the guise of being part of the investigation team. Because he wants to find out who the second Kira is, but he also doesn't want to be found out himself by the second Kira. And he takes precaution to prevent this, but because Misa has the Shinigami eyes, she finds him out immediately. Later, the investigation team gets a message from the second Kira indicating that the second Kira has discovered the real one, and as a result, they decide to send a plea from the police to get the second Kira to cooperate and not meet the real Kira. Misa ignores this and instead tracks down Light to his house and shows up there, and they meet for the first time. 14. So, Light plans to use Misa's Shinigami eyes to kill L, and there's like this back and forth they have where, I will save the editorializing for afterwards, but Light doesn't really like Misa. They're coming at this from different perspectives, and during this conversation he threatens to kill her if she doesn't do what he says, and in response, Rim threatens to kill him if Misa ever comes to harm. Rim the Shinigami.
Sweet.
Yeah, I don't know why introducing a weird love triangle was necessary here.
Yeah, it's definitely a little odd.
But yeah, so that happens, and then Light ultimately has Misa send out a new tape as the second Kira in order to throw L and the investigation team off. However, L uses this to conclude that the two Kiras have in fact met, and L is once again suspicious of Light and has the team member follow him around. And at the end of the episode, Light asks Rim to kill L, which she agrees to do. 15. Because he realizes that the two Kiras have in fact met, L's worried that he might be killed soon. Once again, because Misa has the Shinigami eyes, she can kill with only a face, whereas Light needs a face and a name to write down in the death note. So, L feels less safe, because now he can't hide his name. So, he announces to the investigation team that in the event of his death, Light should be arrested, and he's also figured out that Misa is almost certainly the second Kira. The audience isn't 100% aware of this fact until the end of the episode, but, the clues are there. L then later meets Light at university, and Misa shows up. This angers Light at first, but then makes him think he's won, because, she'll have his name, and be able to kill L. After this conversation, though, Light tries to call Misa, however, L has stolen her cell phone, in a weird move.
Yeah.
Then it's revealed that Misa's been arrested on suspicions of being the second Kira, and this puts Light in a tough spot because her carelessness has basically revealed that he's Kira. And then, after days of police torture, Misa decides to give up her death note, which causes her to lose memories of everything related to it. This is like a new exposition bit that comes up apparently. If the user of the death note, the human user, relinquishes their death note, they lose memories of it. And then 16, due to the pressure on him, Light hatches a plan. He decides to turn himself into L under the logic that he might subconsciously be Kira and he just doesn't know it. So Light's plan involves him withholding deaths until a certain point after his capture, and then after that point he'll give up his death note, causing him to lose his memories and his behavior changes as a result. The rest of his plan is unknown at this time. It's revealed in later episodes, and then L ends the episode with both Misa and Light in custody, and he's confused at their change in behavior. So yeah, I think I hit everything. I missed the parts where Light's dad's also in police custody, but we can talk about that here.
Okay.
Did I miss anything else?
I don't think so. So
okay.
At the start of this range of episodes, they introduce the fake Kira.
Yes,
so,
Misa Mane.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I was gonna ask.
Right. Yeah. So, to me, first of all, I didn't realize until after they say it, that wasn't actually the first Kira. It was the second Kira, and somebody is, trying to play, Death God again. So, but this time they're killing innocent people, which the first Kira's not cool with.
Yes.
So, and it seems like kind of a ploy by the second Kira to get the first Kira to respond. So anyway, that was a whole thing, and I thought that was surprising. I didn't see that coming. But I did wonder at first, okay, they're killing innocent people now. But I thought, automatically that Light was just kind of, again, letting the power go to his head and just being careless. But then they revealed there's a second Kira. And then we eventually learn that it is Misa. And Misa is this, super kind of, I don't know, how would you describe, she's a model.
Yes.
And she's just, I don't even know how to say it, but
2006 Hot Topic core.
Yes, there you go. Absolutely. Yes, 2006 Hot Topic core is the perfect explanation there. She is this bubbly, smarter than she appears, definitely.
But also not as competent as Light Nell.
Correct. Not as competent.
Very important for the plot.
Yeah, but believes that she is, and she thinks that she has all her bases covered, but she really doesn't. And Light begins to manipulate her because he realizes that she's, got this kind of obsession.
Yes, she is obsessed with Kira/Light, so.
Yes, and so he realizes, oh, I've got to play this the right way and keep her on my side. And she wants to be his girlfriend.
Yes.
And he's I don't want that at all, but, okay, and he's trying to tell her, we can't be seen together because they'll figure it out. And she's no, we can't, this whole thing. So it was a whole back and forth. And we see that Light, just kind of starts to manipulate her just to keep her on his side, I guess. Well, not necessarily on his side, but to keep from getting found out.
Yeah.
So it's more self-preservation. Yeah.
Yeah, she's a lot sloppier than he is, revealing names, she writes Shinigami in her message to, that's to be broadcast. And, Light obviously doesn't want anything relating to that to be found out. Elle actually sees Shinigami and, screams.
Yes.
Which was kind of funny.
That was funny. I didn't know what was happening there. Yeah, and when it was on the newscast, and they said Shinigami, or he saw Shinigami, I don't remember how it was, he, screams and kind of has this outburst, and he's wait, they're real? I didn't know they were real, which was an interesting little turn, but I think that kind of added to his kind of the oddity of his character,
Yeah.
But I like him. The thing that I didn't like in one of the episodes, he was eating all these donuts and stuff, or what appeared to be sweets,
Mm-hmm.
And he's licking them and stuff. And I was just oh, I'm tired of hearing him smacking his lips, I never thought I would get tired of a cartoon eating, but not a cartoon. I know, but that's what's in my head. So, I thought that was kind of funny too. But anyway, so the first of these episodes, you kind of get a glimpse of Misa, right?
Yes.
And then and I thought that was okay. Like, that episode didn't, I thought it was fine. Like, I thought it was interesting.
Yeah. I wanted to ask what you thought of her as a character, like, generally.
I didn't really like her as a character,
Okay.
because I felt like, it was just kind of like this stereotypical kind of girly girl who's like a celebrity model, kind of like dumb blonde type of thing.
Yeah.
And I didn't like, I felt like she was kind of, like over-sexualized and just kind of a goofy character in general,
Yeah.
So she wasn't my favorite character.
Yeah, I think she's poorly written and, like, yeah, like you said, the over-sexualized, and, like, particularly when she gets arrested and
Yes.
the writer makes the choice to have her, like, chained up.
Yeah.
Is really weird.
I thought that was very odd. But I also kind of can see, like, the juxtaposition to Light's character because he's more, like, studious and, like, quiet and serious.
Yeah.
And you have this, like, bubbly, like, goofy kind of character. You know what I mean? Like, just to kind of play off of his quietness and studiousness. You know what I mean? So, like, I kind of get that. And it kind of showed, like, he's trying to go about this in a way where he's, not showing his cards, and he's, like, just kind of doing it, like, his way, and very precise kind of with all of his actions. And you see she thinks she knows what she's doing, but she's kind of a little, like you said, sloppy. So it's kind of like opposites type of thing.
Yeah.
So it was a little funny that, like, she's, like, obsessed with him, and he's like, oh, I don't, because normally you would think, like, in fiction, like, the guy would be like, oh, this is a model, like, you know what I mean? But he was like, absolutely not, I'm not doing it,
Well, she's a liability to his plan, so.
Yes, definite liability. But he's like, but I have to go along with it, but I have to do it in a way where she obeys me. And that was the other part I didn't really like.
Yeah.
That he was like, you said you would obey me, and this is what I need you to do. So he very much manipulated her, which, he claims to be like a, fighting for good, basically, by killing all these bad people. But then he just is kind of terrible toward her, but also she was killing innocent people. So, he was like, no, you have to stop that. So,
I think that's deliberate, that he's horrible to her. It's like, I think that is a point the series is trying to make, that his view of justice is bad, and that Light is fundamentally a bad person.
Yes.
Right, that, like, wanting to kill all these people, he can dress it up as justice all he wants, but he's still, like, a murderer for doing this.
Right.
And he's, a megalomaniac, and, like, obviously when it comes to a character like Misa, he would be manipulative.
Right. Yeah.
And just, ooh, the way Misa's written with regards to that is just...
Yes.
Oh, I could not take that scene where they first met.
It was very cringy.
It was.
I will say that. Like, if you take that out, like, the episodes are... Like I said, I didn't have any issues with them in that, like, it moved the plot along.
Yes.
And there were, like, lots of plot twists and stuff. But that whole part, it was definitely cringy for sure.
Yeah.
To say the least. Yeah. There is some issues with that, yeah.
Yeah, just generally, I think Misa could be a better written character, and I don't like that, like, basically the two women in this show with any sort of, like, characterization are Naomi, who I think is a well-written character, but, like, obviously dies very early.
Yes.
Is a tragic figure, and then Misa, who's just...
Yes, exactly. Yeah, definitely.
But so that's what I meant when I said I think it goes downhill from this point on.
I see that, yeah.
I don't like Misa as a character. I wish she was better written.
Absolutely. I think it would have been much better if she were written differently. But, that's how it goes. So, I also thought, so in episode 12, we see like the introduction of the other Shimigami, Jealous, who well, yeah, and Misa's Shimigami, but also
Rim, yes.
yeah, that she's me, or I guess Rim was telling the story about Jealous, right?
Yes.
And they kind of play that for you, like where you see this other Shimigami who's like obsessed with Misa, and or loves, I guess, is more of it, because they said, you know, that one fell in love with Misa. And anyway, I thought that little guy was a cute little Shimigami. Like, I was like, and he's so mopey. I was like, this is kind of funny. That the other ones are like these big, kind of like formidable looking, you know, Shimigamis, and then this one, Jealous, was like kind of smaller and like just kind of like sad and mopey and stuff. So I thought that was a little bit funny that they just kind of, you know, the different Shimigami have different personalities.
Yes. So yeah, I mean, that scene's fine. I think it's a bit clunky as far as exposition goes.
Yeah, definitely.
But, you know, it's fine. Let's see. I think episode 11's mostly fine. It has some problems in play. Like, the characterization of Light's dad from this point on is kind of weird to me. Like, he starts getting unhinged, and I'm not sure what to make of that, but...
Yeah, he does. Yeah, like, he drives I thought it was a bus, but they said, like, police van.
Something like that. It looks like a bus, but...
Yeah. He drives it into the building.
And he's, like, threatening people in the building.
Yes, like, total turn of events, but you're like, I mean, but we saw him, like, lying in the hospital bed, and he's like, I cannot sit here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he just lost it, and he's, like, tired of this, and so he just kind of, as you said, is a little unhinged. I thought that was very different than what we've seen of him.
Yeah, definitely.
But also, you're like, okay, that's that. I guess, you know, like I said, moving the plot along, you know. So yeah, he's threatening people in there with a gun, like, you know, just totally not what we've seen of him so far. But maybe that's the point, that, you know, you push a person so far, then they can kind of turn that way. But, you know.
Yeah, I think, like, that writing around the TV station was, you know, tense. I think that whole situation was a decent bit of writing. With, like, the other officer going there, and then, like, Elle having to talk down another member of the team going there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought that whole sequence was, fine. I do like the bit, this is, like, 13, I think, episode 12 and 13, maybe, where Light tries to take all these precautions to not be found out by the second Kira.
Yeah.
Like, he walks through his whole, like, thought process on, like, what he's gonna do to make sure he's not found out. And then he gets immediately found out by something he couldn't have prepared for.
Yes.
I thought that was kind of funny.
Yes. I did too, because I was like, ooh, you got too cocky because you don't even know what you're dealing with, you know?
Yeah.
Also, I wanted to know, like, I felt like this was more emotion that we've seen from Elle in all the episodes. Like, he's was very, I don't know, I guess just more, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. I guess he was more like, you know, when he discovered that the police officer died, and he's trying to talk the other one from going. Like, I felt like he just showed a lot more emotion in these episodes than he had been. And then, like, when he saw, you know, the reference to the Shimigami in episode 12, where he, like, yells out and, you know, like, just like different kind of stuff like that. I felt like he was more emotive than he had been, so I kind of like that part.
Yeah. And I think there's some, like, in all these episodes, there's some decent cat and mouse stuff. You know, the detective, killer, cat and mouse are talking about in the previous episodes, that I think between Light, Ellen, the second Kira, and these, and I like how it deals with, like, information and, like, who's figured out what and when, like, what does Elle know, and, like, Light trying to navigate around that, like, trying to, get in contact with the second Kira, also playing off the detective team, stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's, like, my favorite part is how Light thinks that he's so smart, and he's one step ahead of Elle. And then, he inevitably discovers that, Elle is figuring out more than I thought,
Yeah.
Like Light thinks he's being so smooth and he's saying all the right things and doing all the right things. And Elle's like, well, actually, you walked right into that, So we can tell that Elle still very much feels like Light could be Kira, but he's not sure. And you can see that pressing on the dad.
Yes.
More and more and more as episodes go on until he finally recuses himself of being part of the investigation.
Yeah, and the other thing about why, so that's all the praise I'm giving it. Well, also the soundtrack's really good. I'd like to say that it's still good. Rim's theme in particular I really like, which is introduced in these episodes.
Yeah.
Anything on that before I start complaining again?
Before you start complaining? Wait, let me think if there's anything else that I want to say positively.
Or anything on the soundtrack?
No, I thought the soundtrack was good. I didn't have any notes on it, but I thought it was good, decent. Nope, that's it. That's all I got. Go ahead.
So, yeah, the reason why I don't like these parts is, aside from Misa, I don't like the premise of this. Misa clearly exists to try to, push the plot forward, right? Before this set of episodes, you have Light and Elle kind of sparring with each other, Elle reveals himself to Light, and, he's trying to get close to him because he thinks he might be Kira, and there's that happening, and this is, to push the plot forward, and I think it's a very poor way of doing that. I think it's just kind of, goofy to introduce, a second Death Note, and it's, what if they were incompetent compared to, Light to force them to have a confrontation? I feel like there had to be a way to write, a better way to write Elle and Light finally, because they're kind of at an impasse at the end of episode 10.
Mm-hmm.
To, break that impasse. I feel like there had to be a better way around that. And then, Misa basically gets, caught, so that's, moving the plot forward, and then Light's plan for resolving that is just nonsensical. I do not like how that was written. It is just, ugh.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, we only get glimpses of it here, but basically, he's gonna turn himself in and say, oh, well, I might be Kira, I just don't know.
Yeah, I thought that was really goofy. Yeah, and he's in custody, and then at the end, I think it was episode 16.
Yeah,
he's okay, now's my time to make some noise over here, basically, where he's wait, I changed my mind. I don't want to be locked up anymore.
Oh,
I was thinking about it, and I can't be Kira.
You didn't get why he started doing that?
I thought it was just to throw him off.
No. He gave up his access to the Death Note, which wipes his memories of
it. Okay, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, that's right. But I thought that was real goofy though.
Yes.
Just that whole thing was kind of goofy.
It's in a series that I think has been really sharp around its the way it writes the cat and mouse between Elle and Light and then making plans and trying to figure the other one out. I felt like this one was very clunky as far as writing, goofy,
Yes.
as a decision for where does Light get away with this now? What's he gonna do next?
Right.
And I really don't like the implication that Light's actually good, it's just the corrupting influence of the Death Note.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what is implied by him suddenly changing his behavior when he relinquishes the Death Note.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, to me that's way less compelling than him just, being like that, and the Death Note merely enabling him to act out his ideas, which is the implication from the start of the series. The first few episodes, the implication is he's just like that, and the Death Note just enabled him. It didn't, corrupt him and make him evil or something.
Right, yeah. Although he definitely got, drunk with power, you know? We already see, and which is one of the reasons why Elle first suspected Light, was because, he knew, his dad was in law enforcement, and these type of people, and he had helped with other investigations in the past, and these type of people have, a strong sense of justice, right?
Yeah. But he's also immature, right? Like,
yes, exactly. Yeah, but that's the whole thing, like, where you're saying the Death Note didn't, like, exacerbate, like, it didn't corrupt him, I guess, in other words.
yeah.
He already had this sense and was already the way he was, just had the tools to now complete, what he actually wanted to do, you know what I mean? So no, I think you're spot on with that, because it does get a little, like, different once he relinquishes the Death Note.
Yeah, and yeah, to me that is just a much less compelling way to write this.
Yeah, I can see that. And then, okay, there was this little part too about, like, L saying, like, it sounds like he's trying to be manipulative, where he's telling Light that, you're really the only true friend that I have.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I really hope that you're not Kira, and, I would hate that because you're the only true friend that I've ever had. And we kind of see, like, little glimpses of that Light actually took that to heart, but we really don't know at this point whether L was being sincere or not. Or we don't really know whether Light really cares, because it kind of seems like he does, but then, I always forget the name of his Shinigami. Ryuk, yeah. Kind of says, like, oh, I thought you changed your mind because of what Elle said about you being friends,
Yeah, he kind of pokes fun at him for it.
Yeah, and so you kind of don't really know, like, if that's what he's feeling or not.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I like to think of them as friends, but... But, and then when he mentioned, like, the tennis courts, I was like, oh, I totally forgot about that whole part. Yeah, once he mentioned it, I was like, oh yeah, the tennis pro.
Yeah, also, Light didn't get tortured and Misa did, so that's another thing I'm thinking about, that, like, why would you write it this way?
No, exactly. I thought that was so weird. Like, that whole part about, Misa just saying, like, she just wanted to be killed because she couldn't take it anymore. And, she was thinking it was like a stalker, because once she relinquished the Death Note, again, she had no memory, and was thinking it was like a crazy stalker, and just, like, that whole part was bizarre to me.
Yeah.
Like, just unnecessary, I don't know. I didn't like that whole part. It was very cringy.
Yes.
That's the best way I can describe it. Real cringy. But, yeah. And then the whole part with Light being in custody and how it was so different from Misa was just like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, like I said at the beginning, the twist that came caught me by surprise for the most part. It was like every episode I felt like had, something different, like some kind of new storyline that, kind of made you wonder what was going to happen next. Like episode 11, like, introduction of the fake Kira.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, oh, that adds a little plot twist there, And then episode 12, where we see, the Shinigamis, and you get that new little introduction to the rules of, how you can kill a Shinigami if they fall in love with a human, that kind of stuff. And then 13, I believe, was when Misa wants to be Light's girlfriend, and that whole little part starts. And then, like, 14, where we see, like, Light asks Rem to kill L, so you're wondering, like, if L's gonna actually die, because Rem will do anything to keep Misa happy, and that whole thing. So, like, is everybody just in love with Misa? I'm just like,
apparently, like,
I'm just like, where did that go? So 2 Shinigamis are in love with Misa? Like, okay. But anyway, that's a little weird.
Yeah.
But shit, I guess Rem didn't say in love, but that...
Yeah, that's kind of the implication.
They love her. Yeah, exactly. You're like, I would... Rem says, I would do anything, whatever. So Light asks Rem to kill L. And because he said that would make him happy, which would therefore make Misa happy. So Rem had to do it. So that was like another little twist, because then you're wondering, like, okay, is Elle really gonna die? Is he really gonna kill Elle?
Yeah, and I mean, Elle's figured out that he's in danger too.
Right, yeah. And then, as we go on to 15 and 16, we see, the whole part about Misa. They're trying to get information. And then again, when Light is, puts himself into custody and his dad steps down from the case, like that whole thing. It was all like little plot twists that you're like, okay, I wonder what's going to happen.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't mention it, but Misa got caught because she left DNA evidence on the tapes she sent.
Right. Even though she said she was very careful and did not.
Yeah. She, made sure not to leave fingerprints, but she ended up leaving hair.
Yeah. So she was a little sloppy.
Yep. Yeah, and, I think, so something, Elle mentions, oh, well, we know that, Kira can control the victims beforehand, because that's something, Light had been testing. It's how much control does the Death Note give over you? And Misa just didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
She sent the tapes herself.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so, anyway, there was a lot of, I don't want to say holes in the story, but, like I said, a lot of twists, but there were a lot of sloppiness, I guess it was. A lot of sloppiness.
Yes.
That is you just know they're gonna get caught. You're at what point is Elle just gonna be dude, that's Kira. And that's second Kira. It's just and obviously he thinks that he thinks he's got the second Kira, but then her memory's erased, and then he thinks that he is definitely on to Light, and then, Light has no memory, so it's just you still don't know what's going to happen, but you're kind of all right, Elle, how much evidence do you need? Just put these guys away.
Well, he doesn't have any hard proof.
No, he
for
doesn't.
either of them. That's why he has them in custody. He wants a confession out of them.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Light turns himself in because he doesn't, have enough proof to arrest, Light for it.
Yeah, and he feels like that's the best move. But I kind of thought that was, really goofy. It's kind of, making you look more guilty.
Yeah, I mean, again, we see, what the plan exactly is later on, but, the point he's at by the end of these episodes is basically, Misa has all but confirmed that she's the second Kira, which then makes it, all but confirmed that Light's the first Kira, so he has to come up with something.
Right.
Because otherwise, Elle can't arrest him because he doesn't have any hard evidence, but he's basically, knows that, Light's Kira.
Yeah. And I think, my favorite character is Elle. He's, always ahead of the game, it seems like, and just, I like how he kind of has this little bit of awkwardness and, just kind of does his own little thing, but he's, super smart and trying to stay one step ahead the whole time. I think I like him a lot.
Yeah, so, anything else to add?
I think that's it.
Okay, so my final thoughts on this bit is basically what I thought before I rewatched this, that this has its moments, it's not all bad, but overall it's just not great. And, it's poorly written, I think. There are way better directions you could have taken, the premise, which I actually, like I said in the last episodes, I really like, some of the parts in the first 10 episodes. And I feel like this is kind of a swerve away from that, quality-wise. So, yeah.
I can see that. And again, I feel like, it was fine for what it is. It was fine. There were definitely cringy parts, and some parts, I'll side with you on that weren't the best written. But again, for the purposes of moving the plot along, it did its job.
Yeah, I suppose. I am withholding my comments for what happens next because, maybe I'm wrong. I want you to say it with no preconceptions or anything.
No spoiler alerts.
Yeah. So Jess. So we'll probably end up watching the rest of the show, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I have to now. Just to, well, how many episodes are there, by the way?
37.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I was thinking like 20.
Nope, we are not even halfway done.
Oh my goodness. Okay, we need to reassess whether we're going to watch the rest or not, but
I mean,
we probably will.
It'll be 4 episodes of this podcast. 4 more.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I don't think that's that bad.
I mean, we can, and I like how we kind of spaced it out, because it's kind of, you know, you get little chunks of it here and there. I kind of like that, so. But anyway, okay, do you have anything else to add?
No, I think, that's everything.
All right.
Ooh, now looking forward to,
No?
I watched ahead a little bit, and...
Oh, I did not. No, I don't watch ahead, so... it'll be a surprise to me, but stay tuned. We'll see about this.
Yeah.
All right, well, I will take us out.
Yep.
Well, this has been Beachview, and we've watched episodes 11 through 16 of Death Note. And join us next time. We'll have another topic. Bye.
Bye.